My biggest fear would be when the first comes and I don't get the rent.
I found that my tenant had dumped concrete down my toilet. Can you believe Fair Housing fined me $5,000 for that?
How do you onboard your tenants? What do you do?
I don't even know if I do it right.
If you're a landlord, don't just rent, rent perfect. The Rent Perfect podcast with property expert and private investigator, David Pickron.
Well, we need to add Scott Aubrey in on that intro. You've been here so often, and I certainly appreciate you being my sidekick. It's definitely a property expert. Scott Aubrey joins us today, as usual. Thank you, Scotty. Hey, just to get right to it, have you ever been to Toledo, Ohio?
Never.
No, it's kind of a cool place, and you know, I flew into Detroit, drove down to Toledo to speak to their RIA, to Anna Mills and her group. Fantastic people. I mean, I could move there and invest there and be part of that group. But it's interesting because you only know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. We've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
But they're talking, and someone stands up in front of the room with their wants and needs, and they said, I have a home. It's in pretty good shape. Needs probably about $5,000 worth of rehab. I'm asking $29,000 for it. I'm like, $29,000?
Where's the gavel? Sold, right?
I'm like, sight unseen.
Yeah, right.
Let me get my checkbook out. I'm not sure where this place is, you know. But it's amazing as I sat back there, because as I presented to this group, a lot of my examples in my slides were where the value of homes were $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, and I completely missed the boat in a way on their local real estate market, because I only know what I know.
And our market is...
And I've gone to
higher.
Colorado, and it's the same as the Arizona market. And I've been to LA, and it's even higher, and San Diego, and Florida, and Texas. But there's a little part of this country, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. You like that? Illinois.
Yeah.
Illinois.
The S is silent.
Shows you I'm just not a Midwest guy. But there are still pockets in this country where they are buying things for less than $50,000 and getting $600, $700, $800 a month in rent. They're getting a huge cash flow back on those.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of play the game out here with appreciation. They play the game a little bit different in Ohio, but it made me think, you know, as I was out there, that as much as I think I know, I couldn't possibly know every market in everything. And so I want to talk to you today. If you were to coach somebody, say, from the Midwest, what would you need to know to really help them?
Well, I mean, let me apply. You know, I've coached my fair amount of Little League baseball and football and basketball teams, and it's easy when you see the talent in front of you, right? I know which kid I can put on the line for the last second free throw because I know him. I see him. And so as you look, and if I'm saying I'm going to coach somebody in a market that I don't really know and don't really understand, I'd probably coach them on some of the things that I think generally apply to our industry, right? Things like we've talked about code words and criterias and being, you know, having fair and well-established practices, kind of best practices we talk about. And those are the things that I feel confident in teaching and coaching. Where I think I would fall short a little bit is not understanding the intricacies of their market. So it really would be for me kind of reaching out to their local, you know, if it's a local RIA or just local investors, to say, you know, walk me through this. What is it that you need?
Right.
Tell me about your market. Let me have a better understanding, because again, I don't know what I don't know, but they know exactly what's going on in their world.
Right. And you'd probably want to know the financial position that your investor is in, right? You don't want to stretch them too far. You don't. And so I think my point is, I think there's so many things that we need to understand in investing that really a national speaker or a coach could never know all of that stuff. So they stay in the area you said, let me teach you practices.
Yeah.
Let me teach you criteria. Let me teach you code words on your ads. Let me teach you, you know, getting 12 months of bank statements right now to cover our eviction search. I mean, there's a lot of things in general, but the reality is I had, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 landlords in that room the other night, and that means there's 50 or 60 or 70 different ways to manage a property.
Right. Yeah.
Because
right,
no
yeah.
one manages it the same.
Right. What's your cash status like? What's your long-term goal?
Right.
Are you wanting to be in and out of? Are you wanting this to be to take you till you retire or beyond? Right.
Right.
So there are some questions we'd have to definitely ask.
Well, and even to the point where I'm speaking to an audience the other night, and I'm thinking we're all kind of on the same page, like we're all here to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this really kind gentleman come up afterwards. He says, I do things a little different. He's like, I'm not really here to make money. I go and I interview people for about 30 days, and I meet with them, and I eat with them, and I see their troubles and what I can help them with, and then I mentor them, and then I get them into one of my houses, and then I help them get back into society. His goal was not to make money, and yet we kind of take the position all the time that every landlord's the same.
Every landlord's greedy. There's no. I mean, and this gentleman sounds like he had some like philanthropic motivations. Like he really wants to help people.
I did, and I said, how many people are successful? He says about 60% are successful in getting a job, getting back on their feet. Very, very admirable. We need more people like him.
Noble cause.
And
I
loved it because I'm sitting there speaking, about making money, and then here's somebody in the, second row over nodding, totally engaged in my presentation, and yet his goal was completely and totally different than what I was teaching.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So you're right. We do not know everything here at Rent Perfect. We are honest about that.
Yeah.
So if we say some things or give you some tips and you're like, yeah, no, that won't work for me, that's okay. Throw them out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Our every topic isn't for everybody, but hopefully we bring you enough stuff to really benefit really your business. And a couple people afterwards came up and said, your code words has changed my life, and it saved me so much time in my marketing. And if you don't know about code words, go back to a couple podcasts, check it out. It's pretty cool. We also last year pushed criteria. If you don't have your criteria dead set right now and specific, email us at info@rentperfect.com, and we want to send you out a sample criteria because criteria is everything. I blame everything on my criteria. I'm good landlord. That's a bad criteria if it doesn't work. And so I just point to the paper and say, sorry, hey, you didn't meet our criteria. We move on down the road. So understand criteria. And also, I would kind of like to hear from you in the comments of this podcast on different things that you do, whether it's when you show the property, maybe it's different questions you ask. I get a lot of the older generation. Even someone after this one said, hey, Dave, you know what you never talked about? And I'm like, what didn't I talk about? You never talked to go check their car and how they take care of their car. I hear that everywhere I go. How they take care of the car is how they're going to take care of my property. And I said, well, there's probably some really hardworking people that don't have a lot of time to wash their car and they're working so hard. Maybe they would be good renters.
Right.
I don't know that.
Because they're making money to pay the bills, yeah.
I don't know that. So for me, when someone says that to me, that doesn't really resonate with me. I don't really feel like if I go out and so I kind of talked to a lady after this conference. I said, well, for me, that I kind of have some concerns there. And she said, well, you should at least check the back seat. Okay, so I'm going to keep my front seat clean. And I'm going to throw
all the
everything
junk's
in the back seat. So, but for her, that was great. If that works for you, that's fantastic.
That might be a market-specific thing.
Yeah. Hey, I love information.
Yeah.
I love getting all the information you can get and making your decision. Ultimately, you're going to make the best decision with the more information you get. Hopefully, that's what Rent Perfect does for you, is get you a ton of information and helps you make the right decision. Looking into the past is the only real way we can project the future, and even then, it's not a crystal ball.
Right.
Right?
It's a best guess, yep.
It's a best guess. So, hey, 50 landlords in the room. There's 50 different ways to manage. You manage your property the best way that you manage your property. You are the best manager there possibly can be because you have all the facts and all the information, and we are grateful to be part of a team of hundreds of thousands of landlords out there that use Rent Perfect that just we're grateful that we're all together. So we want to hear from you. Put in your comments some ideas, and let's just, put all of our ideas together and get our own style.
Yeah, love it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us today here on Rent Perfect Podcast. Continue to rent perfect, and we will see you next time.